In a world where the paranormal meets the preposterous, where ghostly whispers echo through the abandoned arcades, and every creaky floorboard might just be a clue, two bravish souls dare to investigate the mysteries no one else will touch.
I see you.
Boo-Foons, mystery investigators.
Hey there, mystery lovers and mischief makers. I'm Steve.
And I'm Dan, together with the Boo-Foons Mystery Investigators, your guides through the weird, the wild, and the wonderfully unexplained.
Each week we dive headfirst into bizarre tales, haunted happenings and conspiracy theories so strange they'll make your nan's ghost stories sound like bedtime lullabies.
We're talking cursed vacuum cleaners, psychic pigeons, haunted theme parks, and maybe, just maybe, a few real clues along the way.
So grab your flashlights, your EMF detectors, and maybe a snack, because things are about to get weird.
This is the Boo-Foons Mystery Investigators, where the only thing scarier than the truth is how much fun we're having finding it. Welcome to the Boo-Foons Mystery Investigators. I'm Dan.
And I'm Steve.
And this is Halloween.
Ooh.
This is Halloween. This is Halloween. Halloween.
I love
Enough
Halloween.
of that. Enough
love
of that,
Halloween.
because if not, Disney will come after us.
Yeah.
I-
Well, they won't, because they won't recognise what the hell you were talking about then.
Good.
Yeah.
Tim Burton might. But yes,
Maybe.
we are the Boo-Foons Mystery Investigators, and this is our Halloween special.
Very special.
Spooky.
Only because I'm now surrounded by pumpkins. That's why it's spooky. Spooky
You
pumpkins.
are. There's loads of. I think there's about 4 or 5 pumpkins I can see around you.
I've turned off the one that screams at me, so that's okay. We're not going to be interrupted.
Ah.
Yes.
Ooh. Spooky.
I'm not even going to turn. Actually, I'm going to turn the lights off because I'm going to put them outside soon for the trick or treaters.
And well, speaking of pumpkin, I believe this week we've actually got a special Halloween story that you have brought to us, Steve.
Like, yes. Well, going on to Halloween, I have filled the room full of pumpkins, and they're going outside. Like I say, Halloween's a great time for me. It's I don't know if I go into the reason why Halloween's so important for me at the moment. I'll probably talk about it now anyway, just at the beginning. But my mum died 6 years ago, and she died. Her funeral was on Halloween. She loved Halloween. She had got so many things ready for that time, just when she died, just a week or two before Halloween 6 years ago. And she had everything. She had a costume. She was, in a home for people who needed extra help because she was getting on. But she still bought a witch's costume. She had a hanging ornament on the door. She had decorated the house. She was so looking forward to trick or treating around all the neighbours. She loved it. She loved it. So I always decided, her funeral was on Halloween because I thought she would have loved that. She would have found that funny. And I always promised. I promised her. I promised the family that I would always make Halloween special in our house. So we have, and we now have people coming from miles around to see the house at Halloween, because I go a bit over the top with it. So
Yes, well, I've seen pictures of your house and videos of your house, and yes, I would say, yeah, you do go a little bit over, but not as over at the top as some people do at Christmas.
And it's more fun, I find, because we get so many people come around. It starts early in the morning, or early in the day, and we get the kids from school, the 4, 5, 6-year-olds, sometimes too scared to come down the driveway, but they send their parents down. We then get, towards the end of the day, we then get teens, or end of the night, teenagers come. But then they're so respectful. They only take a sweet, and they just love to see what's going to open their, be behind the door when they open it. But anyway, yes, I love Halloween. I've spent a fortune this year on it, so I can't wait to show you the pictures. I'll put them on the website, and we'll maybe put them on Patreon as well once I get them up there. But obviously, one big part of Halloween are the pumpkins, and this year I've gone a bit over the top with pumpkins. And I thought, let's look into why do we use pumpkins? Why pumpkins are part of Halloween? And then I found out the story and the story of Stingy Jack. Pumpkins came from a guy called Stingy Jack, which is
Well, you
why they're
see,
called jack-o'-lanterns.
the bit that I know of this story is that and you're going to correct me if I'm wrong, because in a moment we'll hear the story, but my understanding is it's an Irish tradition that was originally turnips or swede that were carved into their faces with a light inside. And then when
Oh,
Irish people went over to America and settled in America, they ended up not using turnips or swedes because it didn't grow in America. But what was growing in America was pumpkins. So they then started to carve pumpkins to make the faces. And then pumpkins were brought from America to the UK. And then we started growing pumpkins in the UK and it became part of Halloween. So that's the bit that I know is it was turnips or swedes. Then when it went to America, it became pumpkins, and then pumpkins made its way back here, and then we now use pumpkins. And for several years, I used to go and pick pumpkins from a field at the end of around this time of year. Actually, funny enough, um, yeah,
yeah,
at
well,
a
that's it then.
farm,
I mean, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
at a
Well,
farm nearby. Yeah,
yeah.
really horrible
Uh,
crop to harvest because there's not a machine you can use. You have to do it by hand.
mm,
So you're tripping over all the vines and everything. But then you've got those ingenious farmers that go, right, we've done all the hard work, we've grown them. Now, instead of getting people to walk up and down and collect them and put them in the right boxes, we're going to tell families that they can turn up to the field. We're going to charge them £30 a time to walk up the field, find their own pumpkin, and take it away with them. Therefore, I've made more money than what I would have done if I had sold them myself and collected them
yeah.
myself.
Oh, that's such a wise thing to do. I mean, that's a great thing because it makes it into an event. Then you stick a corn maze in there as well, and then you get people paying for that. And I mean, it is the sort of end of harvest, anyways, Halloween. So, it's that time of year. Let's go celebrate. Let's get those last autumn crops in.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, you're absolutely right. It was originally turnips, but the story is more than that. It's like, but why did people decide to carve turnips anyway? But so the story is all about Stingy Jack.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of Stingy Jack?
I
Apart
have
from the
not
movies.
heard of.
Okay, Stingy Jack, Jack the drunk, Jack, drunk Jack, flaky Jack. All these different things he's been known as. So, but it's an 18th century story. Uh, that's when it sort of came out in Ireland, and it was about a guy called Jack, obviously, who was a manipulator. He was a drunkard. He was a deceiver. He basically just scrounged off everybody and just made everyone's life a misery. And
Okay.
so, yeah, and he would travel around. He'd lived a life and he'd never done anything good in his life apart from just scrounge and just had fun. Uh, One day, the devil heard about this guy, Jack, and what a good deceiver and manipulator he was. And he decided to actually go and claim Jack himself and take him to hell because it was his time. But he didn't want anyone else to do it. The devil himself decided he's going to learn something from Stingy Jack because he's become such an expert. It's something he can add to his talents. I mean, that's what the devil does after all.
Yeah, that is
Um,
part of the devil, isn't it? Every
yeah,
story that involves the devil comes along, manipulates somebody into believing something, and then ends up stealing their soul or
yeah,
something towards
isn't
his
it?
gain. So, yeah, if
Yeah,
there's somebody else that's better at manipulating than him, then of course he's
absolutely.
going to go after him.
And my controversial understanding, potentially controversial, it could be correct, understanding of the devil in the biblical sense is he was just a deceiver. He just tricked people and manipulated people. As far as I remember from the devil, he never really did anything particularly bad apart from deceive people and move people away from God. That was it. All the murders happened by God, if I remember rightly, but I could be wrong. Um, anyway, yeah. So the devil decided he was going to get Stingy Jack and take him to hell. So one day, Jack was walking down this dark, cobbled street, and he saw a body on the floor. He went over to the body, wants to rifle through the pockets. What can he find? And then he stopped because he realized this wasn't just an ordinary body. This was the devil. The devil
Oh
was waiting
no!
for him, and he realized it was his time. The devil told him it was his time. You're coming to hell with me now, Jack. You're dead. And Jack goes, no, come on now. At least get me one more drink. Let me have a drink before you take me to hell. At least we can have a chat. I can show you what I do. So the devil agreed. Let's go to the pub.
Hilarity, that would be me. Like they always say about what would you say if the Grim Reaper turned up, or to say, yeah, it's your time. I'd be like, yeah, let's just go to the pub for one last beer.
One last beer.
Maybe I'm Stingy Jack.
Yeah, maybe. No, man, you're too good for that. You can't. You're not manipulative or deceiving. So, I mean, I've known you long enough to know that. So, and only you're not that stingy.
Only when you're in a pub and everyone says it's time to go home, then it's a case of no. We're not going home. We're having another beer. We haven't had enough beer yet.
If anyone stumbles across Generous Dan asking for final drink, he could be there for a while. So Stingy Jack and the devil went to the pub. The devil enjoyed his company and decided all night to buy him drinks. So he bought Jack drinks the whole night. Jack then at the end of the night said, well, the devil says it's time to go now. And Jack goes, I haven't got any money. I don't carry money with me. Can you pay for it? The devil goes, I don't have any money either. So Jack convinces the devil to turn himself into a silver coin so he can pay the landlord the silver coin, and then he can change himself back into the devil afterwards and meet him out the back.
Excellent.
So the devil agrees to do it. Jack is so convincing. The devil turns into a silver coin. So Jack takes a silver coin, doesn't pay the landlord, but he sticks it in his pocket where he's got a crucifix. He carries his crucifix in his pocket, therefore locking the devil into the form of a silver coin. So Jack, he then makes a run for it. Yeah, he'd been drinking all night as well. Imagine what he would have done if he hadn't been drinking. I mean, that was a great plan. I mean, seriously. Yeah. So he's now convinced the devil. He's now locked the devil in a silver coin. So he goes away and keeps the devil there for a while. And the devil's talking to him still. And the devil's saying, look, you've just got to let me go now. I'm the devil. I've got a job to do. Dan goes, okay, sorry, Dan. Jack goes, Dan goes, I'll have another drink. No,
yeah, Jack, I would be like, now I'm having another drink, mate. Yeah. I would have forgotten about turning the devil into the silver coin. I would have been like, yeah, how many beers can I get for the silver coin? Get one for everyone. Especially if it's Vault City or Northern Monk, you know.
Oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
Northern Monk.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah.
Okay, you're going to have to send this podcast now to them and say, look, I've been advertising you.
Yeah, well, Vault City, yes. Love Vault City. But today I'm repping Northern Monk, which is very appropriate considering we're talking about the devil, you know.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I'm doing Ashens and the Game Child. That's who I'm rocking today. So Stuart Ashens.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, there we go. As if I could rock any kind of clothing.
If you want any more randomness like this, do follow us on all of our socials where we do put random stuff like this out. Anyway, back to Stingy Jack.
Back to the story. Stingy Jack. Okay. So, that was the intermission. Okay. But part two. So anyway, the devil, Stingy Jack knows he can't keep the devil there forever and decides to then strike a deal with the devil. And he says to the devil, I will let you go if you give me 10 more years of life. I don't particularly want to die just yet. And the devil agrees because he doesn't want to be stuck in Stingy Jack's dirty pocket for any longer. So, yep, you can have 10 more years. I'll come back in 10 years. And Jack lets the devil go, and the devil sticks to his bargain and disappears. Anyway, 10 years later, to the day, Jack's walking down a cobbled lane, and the devil jumps out. Jack, it's 10 years. It's time to go. You coming to hell with me now? And Jack then says, please, I'm hungry. I don't want to go to hell hungry. Can you go up to the apple tree there and can you pick me an apple from the top because I can't reach, just so I can have one last thing to eat before you drag me to hell?
Apple tree. That's how the devil conned Adam and Eve, with an apple tree. How did the devil fall for an apple tree? Like that's literally his thing.
That's literally the oldest trick in the book.
Yeah, that was
the oldest trick in the oldest book. Yeah.
That's just Jack using his own trick against him.
Yeah, well, that just shows what good of a deceiver Jack is. Yeah. Anyway, the devil agrees and he climbs up the tree. And he's up the top as if he could just like turn into a big thing anyway. He climbs the tree, gets the apple, and just as he's about to come down, he realizes that Jack has carved the crucifix in the tree, in the bark, trapping him in the tree. He now cannot get down from the tree. He cannot get down from the tree. He is now stuck in the tree. So Jack says, I will remove this piece of bark if you agree to one thing. And the devil goes, okay, what is it now? Promise me you'll never take me to hell. Devil goes, if it's the only way of getting off the tree, okay, I will never take you to hell. You'll never, okay, I never want to go to hell. Okay, you're not going to hell. Devil agrees to it. Jack removes the piece of bark with the crucifix, and the devil gets down, and the devil goes, because devil is now angry. Anyway, Jack continues on his way, and he continues to live another, I don't know, it doesn't say how many years, but he carries on living his life. And eventually he does die. He dies of old age. He then goes to heaven to try to get in. And they say, you can't get in. You're Stingy Jack. You're the bad guy. You've done nothing good in your life. You've done nothing positive. You can't come into heaven. So Jack then decides, okay, well, I've got to go somewhere. I can't just stay here in nothing. So he goes to hell. He goes to the devil, tries to get in. And the devil says, you're not getting in. I promised you weren't getting in. You're not getting into hell. So now he's stuck in limbo. So Jack now is stuck in limbo in just nothingness. And all he has to move himself around, he carved a light out of a turnip, which he used to look around this darkness of limbo. And he uses to guide himself around. So he carved a turnip into basically a lamp for him, and he carries it. And every Halloween, when the veil between the worlds and the life and death is thinnest, he could be seen walking with his carved lantern basically out of a turnip. So out of people seeing that and seeing this ghostly figure with this turnip with lights coming from it, then decided at Halloween to start carving turnips, I don't know if it's either to scare him away or to draw him or just to light the way for him. But that's why turnips started to be carved, because it was a sign that Jack and Halloween were going to be out and about. So people would carve turnips. And of course, like you said, that tradition then went to North America in the 18th century. It went to North America where they didn't have turnips, but they had pumpkins. Pumpkins, of course, bigger and better than turnips and tastier. So it became a tradition to carve it out of pumpkins. And now we just have big plastic pumpkins everywhere with lights, because Stingy Jack would have to use that to guide his way. So it was basically about careful what you wish for, I guess, as well, because, at least if he'd gone to hell, he would have had somebody to chat to. But now he's just stuck wandering limbo with the occasional glimpse into our world.
You see, the thing that's interesting about that, because I hadn't heard of the Stingy Jack. I knew about the pumpkins being turnips originally from Ireland. However, when you got to the end there, you said about him being a light inside a turnip.
Well, yeah, he used it. He used the light inside it. He put the light into a turnip, which he carved to guide him.
Because I'm very well aware that, the term Will-o'-the-Wisp,
yes,
which is a very English story. I'm well aware that Will-o'-the-Wisp comes from English folklore of a protagonist called Will, who's a blacksmith who is given a second chance of life by St. Peter at the gates of heaven. And then he ends up leading a bad life the second time round and ends up being doomed to wander the earth. So the devil gives him a single burning coal, which he then, is to warm himself, because obviously he's roaming the earth, and he can use a single burning coal to keep himself warm, which he then uses to lure foolish travellers into the marshes. So Will-o'-the-Wisp is the term that, is used for light and things like that.
Yeah.
And I'm also aware that Will-o'-the-Wisp is for the visual phenomenon ignis fatuus, however it's said in Latin, which I know means foolish fire, which that then obviously has links to Will-o'-the-Wisp, because Will in that story is using the coal to attract people in who are foolish. And of course, I knew that Jack-o'-lantern is a term that I've always associated with Americans as saying jack-o'-lantern for the pumpkins, but the jack-o'-lantern would make sense as being the fire from Stingy Jack. So
that's
it's
where you get
interesting that
Jack,
there's
the Jack part of Jack-o'-lantern comes from the person who the story came from. I mean, I don't know if it is related to the wisp, but there's obviously something. I mean, we were talking about this. I mean, if you go to the moors and you're walking on the moors at night and you see a light, people may walk towards it. And then obviously, if you go into a moor, or into a bog and then drown, the stories could easily spread about
yes, but
being lured into positions of danger
in
by the lights.
Dartmoor, don't they call those strange phenomena alike? Don't they link those to the fairy or the piskies?
Mm.
I
There
think
is a
when we
lot
went
actually,
back
yes.
to when we did our Dartmoor special and did about Pixie's Cave, I'm pretty certain that we saw about the fairy lights and that across Dartmoor. So, do you think that all of these? So this is this is very common for our podcast. I wonder whether that story of Stingy Jack does have links to Willow the Wisp and isn't a story that originally was used to describe these light phenomenon. But then, of course, the bit where he's in the turnip is then very different to the others.
He's not in the turnip. He carries the turnip.
Oh, he
with a
carries the
light in it.
turnip, right?
He
Okay.
carries it, so he uses it as a light to guide himself through limbo, basically, which is just darkness between good and evil. But it doesn't have anything more than where that ends. Is he's still wandering the nether realm, trying to coming through every Halloween somewhere.
People do like carving vegetables, don't they? Because an idea for a future episode that I've had is to look into mandrakes, and I know people carve them as well. So yeah,
Yes,
maybe this could be a whole thing. We now look into carved vegetables.
Yeah, we can talk to people people of a certain age and remind them about that's the show That's Life and their dirty vegetable of the week. You won't know that one, but there was a program called That's Life. Yeah, every week Esther Ranson and the gang would reveal the latest vegetable that had a third leg, if you know what I mean.
Oh.
Yes, and everybody would laugh politely because it was like the early 1980s. It's like, that turnip's got a willy. It'd be like that. Titter, titter, titter. That's rude. Yeah.
To be fair, I still do. Anyone's just got to mention anything ever so slightly innuendo-y, and I'm just giggling.
Yeah, but you're the one who goes through all the wonky vegetables to see if you can find anything interesting. But would you? I mean, this Jack story. He was, refused entry by. I mean, sure, if you're going to be refused, he didn't want to go to hell. But then he tried to get into heaven, knowing that he would never got in there anyway. I mean, he was very optimistic, but he couldn't talk his way into that.
Yeah. Maybe he ended up sort of going, you know what? The one person in my whole life who I've met, who I get on with really well, is the devil.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to go see if he's about, whether he wants to go for another beer or whether he wants to go for a snack of an apple at some point.
I wouldn't fall for that again. I'm not going out with you, bloody Jack.
Yeah.
Can you imagine they got a poster of people they won't even let into hell?
like that Bard for One, Bard for All scheme that you see in the pubs with the list of people in that area. Just Stingy Jack.
Too clever or too evil, so they'll be like, I don't know, Stingy Jack and Mother Teresa still trying to get in and they can't. Just hanging around the limbo because they're too evil for both. Yeah. So no, I'd never heard of Stingy Jack and the story of the jack-o'-lantern before until I looked into it and suddenly thought, why we got pumpkins everywhere? So yeah, I thought that was a really interesting one because again, Irish folklore is crazy, and this one doesn't have a giant, and it doesn't have a rapey giant. Even better. It's very unusual to have a Irish folklore without a giant.
Well, yeah, we'll have to look into some giants at some point in the future. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. Giants are they've got a bad reputation, definitely.
Yeah. Well, we'll record some for release in the future. Some giant stories.
So definitely we need to have giant stories.
Yeah.
So what else can we talk about Halloween then? What do you fancy talking about? I
Well,
mean, it's all very Gaelic, isn't it?
it is. Well, you've said about obviously the story of Jack. I was just looking here to see where the pumpkins sort of come into it, and it turns out that the pumpkins originally started with Thanksgiving in America, and then they would give a prize of a lit jack-o'-lantern at Thanksgiving events. And then eventually it turned into just a Halloween. So
Hmm.
after about 60 years of using it at Thanksgiving, it then suddenly became associated with Halloween as a replacement of the turnip.
Hmm. I had a discussion with my dad today. Well, not a discussion. We had a chat about the state of the world, like we always do. And he told me off again because since he's got cancer for the fifth time, he's gone hyper Christian again. He always does. Every time he gets cancer, he finds God, just in case. Claimed he always was because he was a choir boy when he was little, and he says he was upset that. Yeah, no, I'm not going to say what happened. He was a choir boy
Yeah.
because this is back in the old days. But yeah, so all of a sudden he's gone hyper Christian again. He said, "Son, I don't agree with this Halloween stuff." I said, "Dad, Halloween is older than Christianity, don't you? It's pagan. It comes well before Christianity was on the scene." He goes, "To be frank, you're probably right there." I said, "There's nothing evil about Halloween either, but somehow
No.
people see it as an opportunity to say it's about devil worship and evil spirits and everything. It's like, Dad, it's not about that. It's about
You see, that's the thing that's always made me laugh is because yes, historically it is Celtic and a Gaelic festival and pagan roots. But the thing that makes you laugh is when you get Christians saying about, oh yes, it's all about evil and everything. Halloween is literally All Hallows Eve because on the 1st of November is All Hallows Day. So it is actually technically a Christian holiday because it's the day where you're preparing for All Hallows Day.
Yeah, to honour saints and faithful departed of the year,
So
it's
it has its roots like Christmas. It has its roots as a pagan festival. And then the Christians have taken it on as their own festival. Yeah. So I don't understand Christians who don't like or support Halloween. Yeah. Because if your problem with Halloween is that it's commercial, then why are you celebrating Christmas and buying gifts at Christmas? Therefore you should hate Christmas and Easter. Why are you buying Easter eggs at Easter? If you hate Halloween for that reason, then you shouldn't be doing Christmas and Easter in those fashions as well. If you're hating it because of the pagan roots, then at Christmas, why are you putting up a Christmas tree and green decorations in your house? Because that's what pagans did. And why are you putting lights in your house? Because Christmas was a whole thing of celebrating being halfway through the darkest nights and days. So therefore you bought in the green things into your house, so fir trees, ivy, holly, because it's still green to bring up a bit of color and joy into your house. I don't understand. That's me just getting very sort of almost political there of, I don't understand why, if you've adopted it as a celebration, why then suddenly go, yeah, actually, we don't like it anymore.
And I just want to say, if anybody listening, if you have a view about this one way or other, please stick it in one of the social medias or on the podcast comments and just let us know what you think about it. It's like I say, it is one of those things. It is the fact it's turned into a time where people could actually have fun, like Christmas and everything else was turned. I think even if it's a religious, religion is very important for some people. The fact that there's certain times a year that everybody can join in. Yes. And I think every religion should be happy with it, especially with the way the world is going today. Everybody becoming more and more segregated and separated and distanced from each other. if there are events like this, which people can get together, enjoy it. Be positive about it. Like I say, Halloween. It was, even if we think about it as like the Day of the Dead in Mexico, it's about being able to let the dead who have died that year pass over. It's a time where spirits to pass back, to carry on their journey. That's what it was originally, I think, in the Gaelic, Celtic original origins, was about that. That time of year. It was now the end of autumn, marking end of harvest, going into autumn, winter. Everything starts to die around you, and it's the time where the veil thinned between the living and the dead, allowing spirits to cross over to where they should be going. And obviously, and of course, the thought of that is now, because it's thinned and people are crossing over, things might cross back, and that's why people wore disguises and left offerings, which, like for the trick or treating or whatever, it's really interesting. But then mixing it in with, All Hallows Eve and All Hallows Day. It's a great way to combine it all into one thing and still carry on a proper tradition. Because, to be fair, again, this is where I get controversial. A lot of Christian festivals were pagan festivals originally and just taken over because they were so popular.
Yes.
Which was very smart on, any religion who comes in and takes over and then thinks, do you know what, we're not going to beat them at this. We're not going to tell them not to do it. So let's just join them together. Let's just have a bit of fun. It saves having to kill a few more people this year. We'll just, we'll all celebrate together.
Well, I love
the idea of just a time of year where the spirits of the departed, you can say good farewell, and they can cross over to where they're meant to be. It's nice. It's a nice thought.
Well, I was just looking here into the whole Halloween and Christianity links and everything, and it does go right back to about the 7th century or whatever. But I've just seen a great thing which I've never seen before: a soul cake.
Oh, I know soul food,
but this is a soul cake. So All Hallows Eve, you eat. Some Christians would abstain from eating meat on All Hallows Eve and would eat specific foods, including apples, which is where apple bobbing comes from, potato pancakes, which are potato fritters essentially, and soul cakes. Right. So soul cake, I've just looked into it. Essentially, it's halfway between a biscuit and a cake. But the ingredients in it are allspice, nutmeg, cinnamon, ginger, and other spices with raisins or currants. So basically, it's got all the ingredients of a hot cross bun or even a gingerbread man, or a gingerbread person, as they are marketed as now. But I interestingly just said a hot cross bun. Well, imagine a hot cross bun, but sort of like a scone or a biscuit version. Oh, that's interesting. We said about America, because Americans call scones biscuits, don't they? But I mean biscuit as in how we would refer to as a biscuit. So if you're American, a cookie.
Cookie.
But
say it again. Go.
Cookie.
Cookie. This is why we don't have any Americans listening to us, isn't it?
Yeah. So, but yeah. So imagine basically like a scone. Or a shortbread biscuit with a cross cut into the top. But it's got the flavours of a gingerbread man or a hot cross bun. So very Christmassy flavours, but also Eastery in the case of a hot cross bun. Yeah, and that's a soul cake eaten on All Hallows Eve and All Saints Day. Soul cake. I want a soul cake. I wonder if there's any churches that still do soul cakes. Maybe I should go to a church around then and go and see if they do soul cakes. Oh, apparently it was given to the poor. It was part of the celebration. You'd give it to the poor.
Did you know there's a real phobia called Samhainophobia, and it is a genuine phobia of Halloween.
Huh.
It's another phobia like phasmophobia, which are afraid of ghosts, wiccophobia, afraid of witchcraft, and nyctophobia, afraid of darkness.
Talking of phobias, one of my favourite Doctor Who quotes is a Matt Smith episode when he says about, he goes, Oh yes, yeah, it's pantophobia. Yeah, it's not a fear of pants, it's a fear of everything, which I suppose does include pants. Um, I love that. Yeah, pantophobia, fear of everything. But I've always
Everything.
loved
Yeah.
the Doctor Who quote because I like the fact how he goes, "It's not the fear of pants because it's the fear of everything." But oh well, I suppose that does include pants. Um,
What are
yeah,
you afraid of? Apart
I'm
from running
afraid
out of
no
beer.
ghost. Um, yeah, you've asked me this before,
Yeah.
and I've I'm kind of a bit odd because I did when I was younger, and I'm not saying that having a fear is a childish thing at all. Don't get me, it's not where this is going. But when I was younger, I did have a few fears, which as I've got older, through circumstance of various different things, I've sort of got over a little bit because when I was younger, I used to hate heights, used to
Hmm.
hate things like being on a ladder, used to hate. I remember once being invited onto the top of a church spire to look across the sort of scenery, and I wouldn't get close to the edge, even though it was perfectly safe. I wouldn't get close to the edge because I was so scared that I would fall. And cliffs and things, I wouldn't get close to a cliff edge for a similar reason. And
That's just sensible,
as
though. That's just
you
that's
know,
just sensible. That's
but I've always hated heights of any description.
Hmm.
But as I've got older, it now doesn't bother me at all. Like I am very happy getting the ladder out the garage to climb up and clean the windows or clean the gutters. It doesn't bother me. I can happily, like, I've been down to Dorset where Old Harry Rocks are, and I've been one of those idiots that have gone across and tried to get as close to the edge as possible and then eyed up the idea of jumping over to the next bit. And I have jumped over to the next bit that's where you could, if I did misstep or didn't judge the jump correctly, I would have plummeted to my death.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, that's one that doesn't bother me anymore. And dark used to be one as well. When I was younger, I used to hate the idea of even if there was, even if I had a torch,
Yeah.
hated the idea of the dark. But as I've got older, I now see solace in the dark. I quite like being in, like sometimes I will come home from work and close all the curtains, turn off everything so the house is pitch black. And I just love that. I find
Hmm.
it peaceful now. Um, yeah, so it's weird because every time I've been scared of something, I've ended up, I don't know how or why or whatever it is, I've ended up sort of getting over it in a way.
That's because you can. That's the thing about fears.
Yeah,
They're irrational, which is why they're phobias,
yeah.
and you
So
can get over them. I still haven't got over clowns yet, though.
yes, I know you
That's,
don't like clowns.
I don't like clowns. I just want to punch them. It's like I don't know what it is. It's because I can't see their faces. But it's funny because I like scaring people wearing masks. But if someone does it to me, I just want to punch them.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't want to run away. I don't want to scream. I just want to attack them because I don't trust them.
well, it's
I
interesting you
never
say
have
that.
done though. I just want to say I've never beaten up a clown. I haven't. I've never beaten one up. I've just wanted to. But at the moment, that's still not a crime, so that's good. Actually, I don't even think beating up a clown would be a crime. It's justified.
Oh,
I can't, I can't
um,
think of many things that are justified, but that is justified. Or a giant mascot. That'd be the next one to go. Anyway, back to Halloween. Quickly, here you go. This is a really interesting one. Have a guess. When was the first printed mention of trick or treating?
oh, I don't know.
The first time it was
Well,
referred in print.
if it's printed, I'm going to go 1800s. Let's go 1888.
Okay, and which country would you say would be the first country to print anything about trick or treating?
I'm going to guess, and this is a total stab in the dark, purely because I'm now thinking Christmas at the same time. I'm going to say Germany.
1927 in Alberta, Canada,
Ah,
was the first mention of trick or treating in print.
okay.
So random. Not even North America, not even America, not even the USA. That's where I thought it would have been because it's became such a big thing. But before that, it was known as Solin, as in Souling, which was a medieval version of Trick or Treated, where the poor went door to door offering prayers for the dead in exchange for soul cakes.
Soul cakes, they're back
Soul
again.
cakes. That's it. So that's what you used to do. You used to travel around offering to pray for the dead in exchange for soul cakes. It's awesome.
Yeah. Actually, looking at the picture of the soul cakes, I'll tell you what they do look exactly like, and with all the spices there, Welsh cakes. And I love Welsh cakes. Welsh cakes. I've made Welsh cakes. Welsh cakes are very nice. So actually, it looks like a Welsh cake with a cross in it. That's what a soul cake looks like. So now I want a soul cake even more because now I know that it's basically looks like a Welsh cake, and I like them.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm coming to see you in a little while, so you should see we can make some. Maybe we can in November we can make a video of making soul cakes.
Yes.
Here's another interesting fact about Halloween. Right, Halloween used to be romantic in Victorian era. Did you know that?
Well, I'm not
Do you know-
actually that surprised because Christmas in the Victorian era was all about ghosts and things, which is why Christmas cards of the Victorian era are creepy as anything. I love Victorian Christmas cards because they look terrifying. But
I'll
anyway,
have to have
sorry.
a deep dive into Victorian Christmas cards soon. No, apparently in the 18th century, late 18th century, if a woman would right, okay, for you three women who listen to this podcast, and you're not married yet, this is what you do: peel an apple, and on Halloween, toss it over your shoulder, and it will land in the shape of your future husband's initials.
Oh, that's why we used to do it at Halloween parties. Right, when I was a kid, right?
Not
we
good
used
for
to-
6-year-olds.
Yeah, no, when I was a kid, we used to go to Halloween parties and somebody would carve off so you'd do your apple bobbing, you'd get your apple in your mouth, and then somebody would cut, because we were kids, so an adult would do it for us, cut the apple peel, and then you'd get the apple peel and throw it over your shoulder, and then you'd go and look at what letter it made.
Yep.
And I never knew
why
why
that-
we were looking at the letter of it. I was like, right, I've just got an apple, now I'm looking at a letter of an apple peel. Most of the time it'd come out as an S, though. Or an O.
S or an O. So do you know anybody? Do you know any men with those initials? Oh, S.
Steve.
Yeah. Steve O.
Yeah. No, but they'll do it. But yeah, most people would either get an S or an O because of the way they'd felt full.
Yeah. So that's what you do. So Halloween, if you're a lady, peel an apple, throw it over your shoulder. That will be the initials of the man you've got to stalk until he agrees to marry you.
Yeah, but that is very Victorian, though, isn't it? Like, how many older
it is.
people do you talk to about their love stories? And it's something along the lines of, they just followed me home one day and I said yes. Or, they just walked out, they followed me down the street and asked me to go there. Most old people, when you talk to them about how they met their partner, that's pretty much the story, they were stalked.
Yeah, because no one was scared then, because no didn't mean no then. No meant follow me. No only meant no when they called the police on you.
Yes.
No meant you had to, basically women had to say no then, because they back in the old days, because you weren't allowed to be seen as being easy.
And it was a playful
So it was all about
thing.
it was a playful. You had to work at it. You had to work at that relationship. You just didn't jump straight into things until like wartime, obviously.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. But things have changed now. No one can actually find a partner. Whole generation of people around the world who are single because no means no.
Yeah, well, they could find a partner if they changed their standards and if they stopped using the dating apps and actually left their house, went to the pub and spoke to people in the pub. There wouldn't be so many single people. That's all they've got to do. Start talking to people. Don't rely on the apps. Yeah.
I met my wife in the cinema. She was working in the cinema and I was just watching films every day, and our eyes made contact. And then I sat down with her. We were drawing between the films, and she was drawing, and I started drawing, and we were just chatting. And now we've been married for 33 years. just because we met, just as we neither of us were looking for somebody.
Yeah.
Just
And
we definitely never had apps or anything like that back then.
going back to what you were saying about Halloween and me saying that they always fall in an S, did you both throw an apple peel, and both of you landed on an S? Because I know the
Yep.
name of your wife, and I know that her name starts with an S as well. So there you
Yep.
go. That's what it is.
It could well have been. We just,
Yeah.
something worked. I mean, it's been a while. We still talk, so that's a good sign.
Yeah.
She's not here now.
No, that's because she's out finding
rehearsing
pumpkins.
That's it. Yeah, she's out rehearsing for the pumpkin play.
Yes,
The
she's
Halloween,
finding all of the pumpkins.
all of them. She makes a
All of
very
them.
good pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
So when the kids were little, we'd have the pumpkins, carve the pumpkins, and she'd make amazing pumpkin pie out of them. So tasty, honestly. I
Well,
love a good pumpkin pie.
you know, when I was sort of saying about when I was younger, I used to pick pumpkins for a farmer. His wife used to make pumpkin pie, pumpkin cake, all sorts of pumpkin related foods for us. So you'd be sitting there around lunchtime, she would appear, and it would either be pumpkin soup or pumpkin pie or pumpkin cake. You'd have some sort of snack that had pumpkin in it. And by the end of the week of being on that farm collecting pumpkins, you never wanted to see a pumpkin again in your life.
Did you have to pay £30 a day to pick pumpkins for them?
No, I was paid.
Okay, because you were saying about people going.
Oh no,
paying
that
£30
was
for pumpkin.
me saying about the with these pumpkin patches
Oh,
that
okay,
people
okay.
pay. No, I actually used to work for a farmer as a teenager,
As a pumpkin picker.
to go and pick pumpkins in his field, and then sell them. And then he would then sell them on to supermarkets and what have you.
Yeah, rural life. Rural life.
Did it for several years in a row.
Yep. Safer than riding a bike in Bedford, that's for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and back then I would be cycling along a main road that was a 60 mph speed limit, and I was much safer than a 30 mph speed limit bit of road in a town.
Bloody hell.
Um,
What else? What else can we talk about Halloween? Apart from the film, the best Halloween film ever, of course, Halloween 3. Actually, it follows Halloween. Halloween is the best Halloween film ever, I think. And my wife, right? She's, so talk about phobia of masks and faces and mascots and stuff. Her phobia is the Halloween Michael Myers mask. She cannot deal with looking at it. And I dressed up as Michael Myers last year for Halloween, and she had to leave whenever she was just gone. I would turn around and she just disappeared. But she also said for years she couldn't work out why she didn't like the Star Trek, and it's because it's William Shatner mask. She could see the mask. I can never see. I don't understand it, but she can see it. And she said for years she didn't like William Shatner in Star Trek. Then she found out that the mask is a William Shatner Captain Kirk mask, and it's just crazy because I could never see that. But last year was great dressing as Michael Myers.
So this year she's dressing as a clown to get a road back on you.
Yes, well, she has been talking about it for a long time because we do have a favourite clown film, and it's not It. So we got a favourite. No, it's Clownpocalypse.
Okay.
I'm sure it's called Clownpocalypse. Let's just double check now.
Oh, well, as you're double checking a film, you said earlier in this episode to people to.
Yeah, sorry. I was going to say Apocalypse Clown. Apocalypse Clown. That is amazing.
Oh, I've watched it. Yes. Yeah. But you said about comments and that. I was checking through comments the other day. Somebody has actually left a comment on one of these episodes, and it's on YouTube. And it's our Boggarts episode.
Yeah.
And somebody has corrected you to say that it was Boglins. The little toys that you were thinking of was Boglins. And somebody only left that cut. So somebody was listening the week we're recording this Halloween special. Somebody was listening on YouTube and left a comment to us saying, it's Boglins. And I have left them a comment back saying thank you for letting us know and that I would acknowledge them in an episode. So this is the episode that we're recording after seeing that. So thank you to that person for leaving a comment. So do leave comments, leave reviews. We do look at it all. Yeah, and
Yeah,
I do
but-
look at it, and I never have anything to say really, because there's never nobody ever comments on anything, apart from that weird guy that I was arguing with lately, who isn't going to listen to the podcast because he thinks that we're horrible people because he thinks we're AI.
Yeah, do you know, we've actually been accused of the whole thing being AI, including us,
Yeah,
which was the weirdest thing.
I think we're too stupid to be AI myself, but
I don't.
yeah.
Well, the truth is, I don't think AI is as that clever yet. It can get to our levels of stupidity, and
Yeah.
it would be too professional.
Um,
But just honestly, why would they think that we not just like the art or the websites or the social media or anything else, the videos? Why would we put your social media posts? We put together these calls. Why would somebody do that in AI? How desperate to actually make the whole.
Yeah, I mean, if I was doing AI of myself, I'd make myself look far more handsome than what I actually do,
God.
you know. Um,
Yeah.
I'd probably do something about my voice as well, so I sounded less camp as well, you know. I'll do
that's your character,
something
though,
to
isn't
get all of the women, you know, sending us messages and going, "Hi, is Dan single?" Going back to you saying about dating advice, you know.
It's okay because I get messages. Is Dan harmless? It's like, yeah, he's harmless. He's all right.
Yes. When they let me out of my padded cell, I'm usually muzzled, so everybody is safe. It's fine.
So, if any of you three ladies who listen to us throw an apple peel over your shoulder this Halloween and you get D, we'll start with just D. Meshes Dan. Meshes Dan.
Yes, and I promise to behave.
If you get an S, that boat has sailed a long time ago, so don't worry about that. I can barely stand, let alone anything else.
And what a perfect place to end the episode. So we started off with I've even got his name. What was it? Something Jack.
Flirty Jack. I don't know.
Stingy Jack.
Stingy Jack.
So we started off with Stingy Jack talking about jack-o'-lanterns and pumpkins, and I don't even know where we've got to at this point of the episode. People have probably stopped listening about 10-20 minutes ago. But if you are still here, do check us out on Patreon. Do leave us loads of comments on things.
But basically, if you are listening to this, basically you're not. You stopped listening 15 minutes ago. We know there's no one here. Sorry, Dan. Carry on with that.
But it's fine.
I'm going to say.
If there is somebody still listening, have a brilliant Halloween, and I hope when you go out trick or treating, you get loads of good gifts, loads of nice treats and things. Yeah,
Absolutely. And if you're Plymouth and you see the house, just knock on the door and say hi, and I will give you a little goodie bag because I've got them all sorted out for Halloween this year.
Yes, and what you could also do if somebody does knock on your door and they quote the Boo-Foons, you can give them one of our lovely leaflets.
Oh, I will do. I'll give them out to the parents. Don't want to give them to children. We'll just crop them.
Yes.
Right. I'm signing off. Goodbye from me. Dan, it's your turn without interruption.
And it's goodbye from him.
Social media, all the farewell bits gone.
Oh, social media farewell. But yes, follow us on all of the social media. If you're feeling very generous to all of those non-people that have, because you've all switched off by now. But if you are feeling generous, do check us out on Patreon and do consider giving us some money. Then we can keep the podcast going in the future. And yeah, until next week and next episode, keep being spooky and enjoy your Halloween.
Bye.
Boo-Foons, mystery investigators.